Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another rendition, Mr. Ray's Real Estate, where we're all about making minority real estate millionaires, baby. I got something special for y'all today. I got a treat for y'all. Y'all may not be ready for this, but this is going to be the last guest speaker that we're going to have for this year. This is my third and final speaker. Next week we're getting back to work, baby. We got to get back to work, get back on the train. But today we got a special guest, and I'm going to introduce him in a minute, and we're going to let him take over from there. But first of all, we got to start with them ground rules, baby. Make sure that you stay muted during the call so our special guest will have complete control of the microphone. Don't want to hear stuff going on in the background, baby. We want to hear what he's got to say. And we'll be commenting in the comment section over there. So get your comments in. And then as always, I need your feedback, baby. I need to know how we can make this better. So I got to start with my Rayism, baby. The steps of a good man, the Bible says, are established by the Lord, and he delights in his ways. And so my guest speaker that I have for you today is a good man. I know that. This is a man of integrity, a man that when James says it, baby, you can take it to the bank. There ain't no gray areas, baby. It's black and white. He's another one of them engineers. I don't know how I got hooked up with all these engineers, being a non-engineer myself. It's something about me that they're attracted to. Maybe, I don't know, it's my ability to not care about, the sense here and there. Maybe they don't understand how a guy can go and he can just aim, shoot, and get there. They have to be exact, but I love them though. They teach me so much. So today our agenda is, I'm gonna introduce James here to you in a second. We're going to do a little Q&A if you got any questions of him. And then I want to talk a little bit, if we have time, a little bit more about the training modules that we're going to be doing this next year. So today I have a special guest. I sent out his resume. You guys can see everything about him there. He's a dear friend of mine. I'm excited to have with me today. Now, all the other people that I've had on here, they real estate guys. I mean, they all invested in real estate, and we doing James not that guy. He's coming with you with just some sound wisdom on how you can improve the way you do what you do. And so without further ado, my friend, my brother, I give to you, Brother James Chappel. Come on in, Chappel. Tell me what you got for us today, my brother.
All right, Mr. Ray, am I here?
You're here.
All right, very good. Listen, Ray, I'm excited to be with your class tonight. Looking forward to it. As you say, I'm the third speaker, and sometimes the third is supposed to be the best.
That's right, baby. We expected nothing but the best.
Listen, but I've heard all the other two guys, and I'm gonna give Johnny number one, and then Jesse number two, and then I'll make myself third.
Oh, there you go.
I think Whitfield did. Johnny Whitfield did a great job Monday night. I'm still thinking about some of the things that he put out to us. So, and I'll tell the rest of the class. You saw my bio. Ray said he sent it to you. All that stuff is just stuff that I do. It doesn't say a whole lot about me personally, or what my core is. So tonight, as we get started, I wanted to kind of tell you who I am, not in so much of what I've done, but maybe what I'm about. And Ray, I don't know if can I share my notes?
You sure can. You know how to do the share screen?
Or can you do that for me?
Do it. If you can share the screen, you can do that, or else I can go and pull it up and do it.
Okay, let me see here. Okay, here I think I got it right here. Very good. All right, what I wanted to do is I want everybody to kind of see my notes. I'm one of these speakers that, when I get to talking, sometimes I'll leave out stuff, but I want you to know what I was going to say or what I felt was important to say, maybe even if I don't get around to saying it. But what I want to do is kind of introduce myself at the very start. I am a man of faith. Some people say, well, you're a Christian, you're a believer, but I'm saying I'm a man of faith. And when I say that, I want to be that type of man that my faith has something to do with everything that I do. And I want it to be a part of all of my life, my family, my work, my investments, my relationships with my friends and my coworkers, all those type things. So what I want to be is I want to be a real man of faith, and I endeavor to be that. I also endeavor to be a man that's connected. You know, it's been said I live in Norman, Oklahoma. Some people have said that I'm one of the most well-connected people in Norman. Not that I know all of the rich people, not that I know all of the poor people. I know all of but I know some of everybody in every walk of life in my network because I try to know what people are about and get to know them. We A few years ago we had a new police chief came to town and he was trying to figure out the neighborhoods. And the mayor of our city at that time said, "Well, you know, you probably ought to talk to James Chappel. He probably knows all of the minority communities, Native Americans, the Asian communities. He knows somebody to put you in contact with to get you going in the faith community and all that." So I want to be connected at every level, and I also classify myself as a diplomat. I served on our city council for one term here in Norman, and I ran on the idea that I was going to be a diplomat, bringing people together, resolving crises. That's what I want to do. And I always style myself as being a mediator versus a litigator, meaning that I want to mediate and find a common solution that works for us, maybe not perfect for all, but something that we all can live with and get done. Because in a diverse community and a diverse situation, you have to be able to do that. There's nothing wrong with litigating, but because some people want to get their lawyers and we'll go fight it out in court, we'll get the law out and we'll decide. But I'm more of a mediator. As Ray said, I'm another one of those engineers. And people say, well, engineers are smart. I don't say we're smart. I just say we're confident in our ability to figure things out. We try to use logic. We try to use facts. We try to use known to find out the unknown. What do we know? Okay, can we figure out what we don't know from what we do know? So engineers, that's what I say. And I want to highlight confidence. And as we go through our talk today, I want those of you that are listening, if you don't have confidence, you got to get a little bit. You got to get it from somewhere. And I will talk about maybe how you can get some of that. I am a project management professional. I have a PMP certification, but what I wanted to get out of that is I'm a team player. I'm motivated by the team dynamic. There's very few things that I do just as an individual. I retired from a utility company 2 years ago. I spent a year at home. I got a little office here that I work out of my house. My wife goes to work. I'm here at the house. I can't get anything done because I need to have people around moving and that type thing. So now my office, I have an office downtown Norman that I go and kind of play around in during the day because I need that team dynamic. Uh, my go-to move is levity. I want to be able to laugh. I want to be able to smile. And I say on here that it's disarming. Smiles and levity, laughter, it disarms people. Working for a utility company, I was kind of the PR guy, and there's very few people that's happy with the utility company. Generally, if I get called, something's gone wrong, people are upset. But you would be surprised how much a smile entering a room full of disgruntled homeowners. Their lights have been blinking for the past 3 weeks. They're all mad. A smile will disarm and all that. And levity is laugh. And as we go through this, think about it now. I'm going to use levity in some of the things I do. I don't want anybody to be offended. I want you to just kind of take it as a laugh. I said up earlier that I'd rather mediate than litigate. That's very important when you're trying to figure out who you're going to do business with. You kind of need to know these type things about the people that you're going to invest with, partner with. It's good to see their resume, but you kind of need to know what makes them move and what makes them tick. that kind of thing. And I think we need to know these type things about ourselves. And on levity, that mediate or litigate, for those of you that are married or thinking about getting married, well, let's just say the ones that are thinking about getting married, because if you're already married, you got what you got, you need to work it out. But if you a litigator and you need to know what your significant other is. Are they the type to kind of work it out, or do they like to duke it out? So I'm just going to assume you guys are laughing as I'm talking. But neither one of those are good or bad. It's just sometimes important when you're dealing with other people to know what they are. Some people enjoy the litigation, the discussing, and the passing back and forth of facts and all that type thing. So all of that is good, but then some people would prefer not to go that route. So when you're doing business with people, sometimes you need to know where they are, and you can kind of maybe get on their level. Uh, Ray gave you a truism. I've got a couple. Some of these are maybe a little bit original. This first one is original. I told you I was a man of faith. I believe that God has placed blessings along our pathway for us to discover as we follow him. As we go about our day, God has put things along our pathway, blessings and opportunities for us to discover. And I think that's some of that confidence and optimism that we ought to have. If things are a little bit tight today, I believe as I move along the journey, I'm going to discover something that's going to be good. It's not going to always be, if it's dark today, it's not going to always be dark in my life. I believe there's an opportunity just around the corner, the next step, or just down the road. And I just need to keep moving forward, and I'll hit it. For me to learn, I can't be the smartest person in the room. For me to learn, I can't be the most knowledgeable person in my network. I can't be the most well-read person, the wisest person in my group. I have to be if I'm going to learn, I need to be around people that can teach me and that I can learn from. And then the third one there is never be intimidated by smart people. I say smart. Some people don't like to use that word because it's kind of subjective sometimes. But what I want to say is knowledgeable, wise, uh, don't be intimidated, because there may be your very opportunity to get a idea, to get a little wisdom, to discover something that you were mistaken about, uh, to something, learn something just completely you've never heard about. Hanging around people that are knowledgeable, people that are traveled, they've been places, they've done things. Don't be intimidated by those people. And also put on here, it's not a competition. Sometimes when we're around people that we think are knowledgeable, we want to make sure they know we're knowledgeable. For me, I don't know that that's really a priority. I kind of feel like I know a few things, and I don't really have to prove it to a whole lot of people, those things that I know. Okay, and moving on, I'm gonna try to stay on track here. I retired November 30th, 2018, and the big question then is what now? My goal was to stay relevant in my own terms. I once I retired, I kind of took a year off, and I kind of hung around, didn't do a whole lot. And I happened to be at a coffee shop in Oklahoma City, and I don't know if you guys know, J.C. Watts was in there, and at that time, our Lieutenant Governor Matt Patel and one of our company attorneys was in the room. And when I left, I told my wife I miss being in the mix. I need to be out in the mix. That was the thing, I'm enjoying being at home, working on stuff, fixing stuff, and all that. But I felt like for me to be complete, I needed to be relevant. I need to be in the community. I need to be doing some things. So the first thing I decided to do, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. I'm going to go out and I'm going to motivate people to go do some things. And I'm going to do a little quick motivation speech for you guys, kind of help you going. And you can tell me if I'm any good or not, or did I make the wise choice later on down. Maybe that was just a dream that was not meant for me. But what I wanted to do, I had this idea. I got President Obama's book, The Promised Land. And I got to thinking, maybe I should talk to this group about possessing the promised land. And what I mean by that is taking full advantage of the good that the land has to offer. You know, we live in a great country. I mean, it's got problems, major problems, but there's a lot of good in the land. And for us to enjoy the land and to possess the land, we need to take full advantage of the good that the land has to offer. I'm always disheartened by people that feel, you know, you kind of get the sense that they're just enjoying all, or they're just experiencing only the bad in life, only the bad at their job. You know, everything in their job is bad. Everything in their, marriage or in their family is bad. And to me they're not possessing the job. They're not possessing the family. They're not possessing the marriage. They're not taking full advantage of the situation, because I just don't believe that every job is just all bad. I don't really believe that every marriage or every relationship is all bad. I don't believe all families are all bad. There's got to be some good in that family. And I just believe we got to figure out how to take advantage of that good. So I want everybody to be excited about that. I mentioned Obama's book. That's kind of what got that. And I'm going to use the Bible history, the land of Canaan that was promised to Abraham and his descendants. God gave them instructions to possess the land. He was going to bring them into a land. God took it upon himself. I'm going to bring you to this great land, and I want you to possess it. I'm going to be your God. You're going to be my people, and we're going to possess this land. And what he told them about the land, that it was flowing with milk and honey, giving the indication that it was a prosperous land, it was a fruitful land, it was a well-developed land. It had all the natural resources, everything it needed. It was there. It was a good land. The Bible said that it was a good land, and God was going to bring them to it. The only bad thing about that, that there was giants in the land. There was already developed people. These people were not like a fledgling, brand new group of people. These people were well established. They had their cities built. They had their walls built. They had their vineyards and all that stuff already built and ready to go. And then these people, God is bringing this group of people in and said, hey, go and possess that land. And you know, when they first got there, they took some went and looked, and they came back with, I kind of paraphrase a little bit. Some came back and said, I can't, they can. They have, I don't have. We shouldn't say that. If you ask me, we shouldn't say a whole lot of that. There are things that I can't do. There's some things I don't have. But I also know that there are some things that I can do, and there are some things that I do have. And my objective is to try to make good use, full use of those things that I have. Two of the people, Joshua and Caleb, the two of the 12 that came back, they said, we're more than able. Yes, we see all of the problems. We see all of the established cities. These people are entrenched. They've been here a while. They're not going to give up easy. They're not just going to wake up one morning and walk off and leave it and let us have it. But they said, we're more than able to take it and go. And you know what I wanted to say about that? 40 years in the wilderness. These people had traveled 40 years to get there. And while they were traveling in the wilderness, they had learned some things. God had taught them some things. They had learned some things about their God. They were paying attention. They were preparing their testimony. They were witnessing God's provisions all along the journey. And how many of us know that we have that same opportunity? We have been through some things. We have experienced some things in our life. God has delivered us. However you want to say it, we made our way through some things. We developed some scars and scratches and all that type thing. And we've learned some things. And I say, let's take those things and not just let them be a bad memory, but let them give us confidence. Let them give us motivation to go possess the land. I made it through that. It didn't kill me. I got a few scratches. I learned what not to do next time. I learned what I ought to do this time, and let's go do it and possess the land. And I also want to say, how many of us know that God has given us all a measure? God has given us a measure of something. In the Bible, it talks about a measure of faith. You know, it talks about talents, gifts, all those type things. I believe every man, every creation, God has given a measure of something. I spoke to a group of youngsters a week ago today, and I told them that nobody should say that I didn't have an opportunity. Yes, there are people that have multiple opportunities. They get opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Sometimes the opportunities come to them first. But I do believe that if I only get one or two opportunities, I've got to make those count. And I believe if I make those count, I will possess the land. I will get the good out of the land. And I also want to say I believe that it honors God when we make good use of the gifts that He's given us, the talents and the abilities that He has given us. I believe it honors Him when we go and make good use of those things. I also say that the forefathers, the people in my culture that endured slavery, that endured all of the civil rights, the freedom riders, all those people, Martin Luther King and all those people, even today, the people that are suffering police abuse and all these other injustices, their sacrifices make it incumbent upon me to make good use. That should not be in vain. You know, I think about the movie that Tom Hanks played in with the Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan. At the very end of that movie, Tom is dying. Captain, he's passing away, and he tells young Ryan, "Earn this. All of this that we've gone through to get you home safe. You got to earn this. You got to pay that back, pay it forward, and the way you pay it forward is for you to go out and possess the land that we've been fighting for." And I just put a note in here that I am a voter. I mean, I vote no matter what. I mean, it doesn't even have to do anything to do with me, but I know people bled, sweat, died, suffered, were beaten and all that for me to have a right to vote. And I want to honor that, and I'm going to go vote. So that's kind of my 5 minutes. You guys can tape it if you thought that was any good. But the key thing is God has given us a measure. He's given us enough. We need to go get it. Les Brown, somebody you guys probably heard him. He said years ago that everybody gets a brilliant idea, at least one. $1 million. I think at the time he said it was $1 million idea. But he said you'd be surprised how many people never move on that idea. They never go to see if it's real or not, or if it will work or not work. They don't mull it over and investigate it. They just kind of let it lay. And those are the type people that when somebody else comes up with it, oh man, I thought about that 10 years ago. I thought about that 5 years ago. Oh, I was thinking about doing that. But there's some people that get up and go get it done. So that's kind of my motivational speech that I wanted to give tonight. Hopefully I've encouraged you to take a look at what God has put in your hands, what talent, what abilities, what He's given you, and then think about where He's put you, right? Where he's given you access, and let's go possess the land. Liaise Consulting. If I'm not going to be a motivational speaker, then I'm going to start a consulting company. Liaise Consulting, liaison on projects A to Z. That's kind of what that Lee is liaison, AZ is A to Z. And and my expertise is in utility, municipal dealings, and community. There's always something going on in those areas. I just got to find somebody that will pay me about $3.50 an hour to do that. Right now, I'm doing it all volunteer, so I got to figure out how to bill somebody about $3.50 an hour to make it work for me. But listen, we have not because we ask not. That's what the Bible says, and this is what Liaise Consulting. Sometimes we don't ask the right things. When I was working for the utility company, people would come to the utility company and say, well, this company ought to do this and they ought to do that. And there's laws and there's regulations that prevent that. But there are some things that they could do to help the city, that could help the community. So what you have to do is be able to put the right package together and go ask. Those of you who are married, you know, there's a certain way that you can ask your wife for just about anything and she'll go for it. Your kids, my daughter, she knows how to ask me for whatever. It doesn't even matter. She don't even think about it. She just knows, okay, I'll either have to get him with a little bit of, hey dad, or I'll show him my grades or something and then ask, or I'll get him in the right moment when he's working on something and he'll just say, yeah, just to get rid of me. She knows how to ask, and children know how to do that. So we as a business people, we need to be able to put together packages that makes it good for us and it makes it hard for the other person to say no to what we're asking to. But so in the meantime, when I'm not that liaison, I think I've got registered with the city earlier this summer. We're going to try to get something going on that. Maybe do a little bit of work. I've been kind of grooming. There's several cities in town that I've been talking with. So we may get something going on that. But until then, I'm not sitting around. I'm up and running. Until I get everything up and running and liaise consulting, I'm going to be doing something. Tomorrow I'm going to go do. I'm a lay member of the Oklahoma Bar Association Professional Responsibility Commission. They call me a commissioner. I'm a lay member. We review all of the complaints that come in against attorneys, and we decide whether to file a formal complaint or to dismiss or any of that type thing. I did serve 6 years on the tribunal where we actually did the hearings. So I'm doing that. I'm a trustee for the Norman Regional Health System. I just started doing that earlier this year. I was appointed by the mayor and the city council of Norman to serve on that committee. It's been an interesting thing. I'm learning things that I've never knew about hospitals, kind of the inner workings. And you know, at some point, that's going to be knowledge that I can put to use somehow. And I'm doing all this as volunteer. City of Norman, we're working a water project. I'm getting to do a little bit of. People say you don't know anything about water, but I do know that there's a lot of community public acceptance in some of the water projects we want to do. Norman has a water issue. We need to figure out some future plans, and we need to make sure the city citizens are receptive. So there's a little bit of PR work that I'm helping the city with to get that done. I don't know if you guys live in Norman or whatever, but you may have saw the newspaper today. I co-chaired our United Way campaign. We raised $1.75 million that we announced yesterday. Our goal was 1.9, so we're about 150,000 short. You ask not, you have not because you ask not. So if there's anybody on the call that's got about 150 grand that they want to donate to a worthy cause and help me get across the bar a day late, I appreciate you getting my number from Ray and calling me. I also do a bunch of some civic stuff, nonprofit stuff, do a little church work, serve on some committees. All these things kind of keep me going, keep my juices going, keep me relevant, right? I like for people to have to contact James Chappel for something, right? I want to be in somebody's speed dial for something. It kind of adds to my ego or my worth or something. I don't know, but I want to be that person. Uh, Ray, I'm finishing up. I hope to the class that you found what I've talked about tonight to be valuable or some value. I hope it adds to your confidence. I know you're confident just by the fact that you're in this call. You're out seeking out information and knowledge on how to do and how to be better. I hope this adds to your confidence to use your God-given measure to possess your promised land. And listen, I'm gonna go ahead and say a good thing about Ray. I think that's part of the curriculum. You have to say something good about Ray to get him to invite you back to speak. But Ray, he taught Sunday school at my church a few years ago. Ray kind of outlined. He's a teacher, instructor type. He lines things out. I will say that his curriculum that he's going to talk about later is one of the better ones that I've seen. It's more complete. It's got everything in it. I couldn't figure out anything that was missing. But some of the things that I learned from Ray in teaching and speaking, I'm using those things today. Those type things are they have impacted me, And that's what I say, when you hang around people that know, people that have experience, people that have been places and done things, you can't waste that time. You got to take something from them. I mean, people say, well, you can always say, take what not to do. Well, that's true too. But I want to take something that you ought to do, or that you can do, that you can put to good use to get me further down the road for where I want to be, to improve my life, improve my family, improve my home, improve my walk with the Lord. Just whatever. So listen, Ray, we're ready for questions. If anybody has any, um, I don't know how much time we took, but I think we did a good 30 minutes there. So
You did good. You did very good. Not a problem. I'm gonna stop your share.
okay,
If you can, let me see. See if I can get mine back up here. All
there
right,
you
there
go.
we go.
All right, you got it.
Yeah, so now, ladies and gentlemen, boy, I tell you what, there's a lot in there, man. I appreciate you, James. Three things you need to know about James Chappel. One, he loves the Lord thy God with all his heart, mind, soul, and body. Number two, he loves his family, baby. He loved that family. Don't
Yeah.
you mess with don't you mess with either one of them girls, and
Yeah.
don't do it. And then third, he loves his community and loves the people. So, with that, James, I do appreciate you. Hey, let's
All right.
open it up. Here he is right here, live and in person, James Chappel. Whatever you've always wanted to ask, but were afraid to ask him, hit him up right now. Here we go.
Let me ask this while we're thinking about it. I did that introduction. What do you guys think about that? Kind of talking more about your core of what you're about, than maybe listing out, well, I'm this, I have this certification, I have this, I have that. Sometimes that speaks more to who you are. You know, I'm a people guy, I'm a project guy, I'm a team person. I'm moved by the team dynamic. I'm confident. I like bringing people together, maybe more so. I want to be a mediator versus. Sometimes that helps you get, if you know that about yourself. Like I say, it's not good or bad either way. It's just sometimes it helps you figure out where you need to be or who you need to talk to. Sometimes if you kind of know you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we talk about what we talk about here, it's all relationships. It's
Mm-hmm.
relationship with tenants, it's the relationships with governmental bodies, it's relationship with contractors, it's all relationships.
Yeah. I do know, if I was, my dad had some rental property, and I do, just from what he knows, if I had rental property, I would have to have somebody else go collect. Because because people would talk me out of they would talk me out of paying the rent. I would I would come back without the money.
You ain't never gonna make no money if you doing it that way, brother.
So I just know that already. Hey, I gotta hire somebody to go collect.
Yeah,
I gotta hire somebody. But you need to know that
turn
about yourself,
your
right?
videos on so we can see y'all. So James can see some of the participants. Now, I know some of y'all can't show your video because y'all might not be able to, but turn your videos on. Let's see some people out there, all the beautiful people out there in real estate land. There we go. There we go. They coming on. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now, come on, let's ask James some questions. What you got? Y'all know y'all got some questions for James.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Yes, sir. I had a question. Just listening to you speaking, I definitely know that that's something that you're you naturally have a charisma about you. What I'm getting to with that is just saying from a person that is just more of a quieter person or reserved person. I know that networking is a good thing, as I always hear Mr. Ray speaking about that.
Mm.
It's about having relationships and networking and all these things like that. What would be some advice that you would give to someone to better themselves at doing that when that is may be something that is a weak point. I mean, I don't mind. I like to speak with people, but I'm just naturally like a more quieter person. So networking is
Yeah.
just one of those things that
No, no, no.
work
That's a
naturally.
common thing. I tell people you always kind of get to me, I would advise you to kind of get involved in something to maybe where you're working together with other people, kind of a
Mm-hmm.
mix of people. Maybe not
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the same business or the same thing. And sometimes if the focus is on working on a project or working on a solving a problem or something like that, there's natural
Mm-hmm.
conversations that kind of come up, and I think over time you build a little bit of comfort, and it won't be as hard. You know, you know.
Okay.
I think somehow you got to kind of break the ice a little bit, and maybe put yourself in positions to where the pressure is not to network, so to speak. The pressure is to work on whatever it is, but I need to be around people and get comfortable being around people. I told my daughter when she went to college, she needed to make sure every professor she had knew what business or what she was trying to do. I'm trying to be a nurse. I want to teach. I want to teach nursing. Every professor she had, somehow she needed to work her way around to make sure he knew that or she knew that.
Yeah.
Because,
Okay.
you know, she's not the type to probably just walk into the office and start talking about, this is what I'm about. But when you go in to check on something, just make sure they find out that, hey, I'm trying to get in nursing school. I want to be a nurse educator, and and anything you can do to help me, let me know. So I think you kind of figure out ways to maybe not make to where I'm just going to walk up and cold call somebody.
Yeah.
But if you get to working with a group of people with different people in it, it's a lot easier to kind of start that, and you'll be a natural. There's some skills you're born with, and then there's some you develop,
I
and I
understand.
think you'll be less hesitant if you're kind of working with a group to do something that's not just that. What do you
Okay.
think?
Good question. Good question. Good answer. Appreciate that.
Good information.
What else y'all got? Who's got the next question for James?
Hello, Mr. James. This is
Yeah,
Kendra
Kendra?
Alexander. So you talked about, you have not because you asked not. So with it seems like you're doing maybe some not so much like public private partnerships, but working with the municipalities,
Uh-huh.
and you've already kind of built those relationships just to be like trusted. So kind of
Yeah.
like during this COVID environment, like how have you maintained, that just type of energy and like drive, with everyone kind of not allowing visitors and
Yeah.
things like that.
You know, Kendra, it's tough on me because I'm the type that needs to be face to face. We did our United Way drive, and we're talking on Zoom calls, and it kind of just messes with me a little bit. But what you have to do is kind of adjust uh, to uh, to what the situation is. And and Kendra, COVID's not going to be always. I mean, I think in a few days, well, okay, a few months, this is going to get past us, and we're going to be back to normal. But I'm kind of a what you might call a natural, and that's kind of that's what drove me to my profession. I was a public relations guy for a utility company, and some people say, well, you got to be the way you are after you got the job. No, I was the way I was, and that's how I got the job. So I was a fit for the job, and that's where you work your way into. So that has something to do with it. But I wouldn't be discouraged by the pandemic, the lack of contact, and all that. I think you just got to figure out another way to get it done. We were raising money by texting people, uh, uh, emailing people, poking people, bringing up things that to talk about just to get in front of people and talk to them about giving me money, you know. But you know, that's a skill too, to ask for money. That's something that a lot of people don't like to do. But
I
don't be
like to
discouraged by
ask
the
for
COVID.
money. I don't have a problem asking for money.
but it's good to know what you don't have a good reason or what you're going to use it for, and be confident of how you're going to put it to work. I think people can read your confidence and your certainty about what you're doing. So that's kind of what I have to say. What do you think about what I? Is that helping you any? To Kendra?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
My experience too is I'm in engineering, and
There
we
you go.
really, and so kind of along the same lines, but I work for a firm, so
Yeah.
just kind of that struggle of just being genuine and really trying to still continue along that path, just career wise too.
Yeah. Every conversation doesn't have to be uh, critical. I mean, sometimes conversations can be lighthearted, but it's just building communication, making contact, finding out what people think is good or bad. You want to stay away from politics right now, but there's other things to talk about. What else do we have?
What other questions y'all got for Mr. Chappell?
Hello, my name is Darren Lampion. Going along the same lines and adapting and maintaining your productivity, what new skills do you feel you had to acquire to still be productive?
For me, if you're a people person, in my old job, rather than calling somebody, I would show up at their office. But now I've got to be able to do this Zoom thing, because I take a lot of feedback from facial, people's stance and all that, and you can kind of tell if people are accepting what you're saying or if they're not interested and all that. And to me, you kind of need to be in the same airspace with them to get all that. But I've had to figure out how to do the online thing. I ran for, like I told you, I was a city councilman. I'm not a Facebook guy. As a matter of fact, I got beat up because I was not a Facebook. People would put stuff on Facebook. I didn't know how to respond, or people would call me and say, "Hey, you hear what they said about you on Facebook?" Well, no. So some of that stuff, you got to build those skills. Technology, maybe that's the term people say now. You got to up your technology game. And I think one of our speakers talked about that. Mr. Whitfield, about you got to get to more technology, because your generation and the generation coming after you are going to be that. Don't come to my office, send me something. I'm at home in my pajamas, don't come to my house. Send me something. So and maybe it's time for me to kind of fade off, and you guys to take the reins and go, because you'd probably be more comfortable with that. But you stay ahead. I had somebody tell me that in the consulting business, you have to be one step ahead, because what you're doing right now today is on its way out. You need to be working on your next training, what you're going to sell, what you're going to do. So you got to stay ahead. You read, you find out what's coming, do as much of that as you can, and get out in front of it. So it's ever learning. That's the one thing that doesn't change. If you know something today, if you're not careful, you'll be irrelevant, right? If you don't stay up.
I like that. I like that. What else y'all got for James?
Hey, don't beat him up too hard. Listen, hey, I've enjoyed this, Ray. You're a friend of mine. Anything I can do to help you, I'll help you free of charge. You could tip me, but no, listen, you could tip me, but I ain't gonna send you.
You'll take a love offering.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, as somebody said, hey, when you get there, don't forget about me, man. Don't forget about me.
That's great. Well, James, again, man, I just want to say thank you coming by, sharing your wisdom with this group of students, man. A lot of takeaways there. I encourage you students to, to think about where you're going, where and how you're going to get there, and take these nuggets with you, baby. These guys are dropping some nuggets, and so you need to make sure you take them with you. So appreciate that, James.
All
Do
right.
appreciate it. All right. So let's go back to, what time is it? Let me see here. I might save this because I really want to take my time. So I'm not going to get into what I was going to do. I've got 2 more Mondays. The next 2 Mondays, I'm going to be explaining and sharing the vision for where we're going to be going with the minority real estate millionaires. And so I don't want to rush through it tonight. So Monday, I'm going to take all of Monday and I'm going to make sure that I explain everything and make sure everybody, all my students, that you're ready to go. Anybody that wants to get signed up, I'll tell everybody how you need to get signed up, and then we'll go from there. So I see it's about 45 minutes in. Again, I want to thank you, James Chappel, for coming and sharing with us. Thank all of you that are on the call tonight. We'll be back on Monday at 7 p.m. and I'll continue to share the vision and what we're going to be doing for 2021. So everybody take care, enjoy your weekend, and get ready for celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior. God bless you. Have a good evening.